Welcome back to Cossy Podcast. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new video. I'm back on the normal camera. The close-up camera is still here as well. So we're going to be diving into the 5 things we learned. Arsenal 2, Tottenham Hotspur 2 over the weekend. So many things to talk about, injuries as well, and the way they impact that game, the way they changed the trajectory of the game, and how Arsenal failed to cope up with Declan Rice getting injured. He's going to be out for quite some time, and we might have to find other options in the games that are coming up. Brentford and as well as Bournemouth as well. But let's dive into what we learned. Let me know in the comment box below. What did you see that Arsenal are not doing well in that game, and what did you see that you are really impressed with, that even when Declan Rice was not on the pitch, probably you saw something that, you know, impressed you? Let me know in the comment box below. Right, number 1 for me is the injuries, and I said here that they will cost us a lot this campaign. I just don't understand. I really do not understand. Now, it's not only Arsenal, and I'm not going to sit here and pity myself and pity Arsenal because we have injuries. Man United have around 11 injuries. Chelsea, they have an unfathomable number of injuries. Like, you cannot even think about it. And a couple of other clubs as well. Like, if you're Chelsea and you're not scoring goals, and you have a Christopher Nkunku who you know is a sure source of goals, you've got to feel unlucky. But Arsenal, 6 injuries within almost 1 month. It's unbelievable. So you look at the number of injuries we have and the number of pending injuries that are actually going to be incoming very soon. Julian Timber is out for a period of minimum 5 months. Thomas Partey, 1 month. That is a minimum. Gabriel Martinelli, obviously, 1.5 weeks. That is what we're hearing. Leandro Trossard, 2 weeks. That is what we're hearing. And, of course, there are tests to be done on Saka, Fabio Vieira, and Declan Rice. So 7 injuries Arsenal have suffered in this small period of time. And I said it before, and many people actually do disagree with our numbers and statistics. But I've already said that the World Cup that happened in, mid-season is going to cause a lot of injuries to players. And many people said, oh, look, Cossy, many of the players that are getting injuries are actually not playing in the World Cup. They didn't play in the World Cup. Well, welcome to the party. Players playing in the World Cup and now also injured. Wow, I think you're now certified. So, look, injuries will cost Arsenal. They will really cost us. The first thing was that Jorginho misstep. Declan Rice is such a safe player. He's such a safe, ball manager. If you have Declan Rice in that incident, in that position, you don't lose that game. You don't concede that goal. Because number 1, he will either keep the ball safer and better, or number 2, he will bring the player down. He can easily, close the player down. He's got the pace, he's got the energy, and he's got a lot of things that Jorginho doesn't have. And what you also lose in Declan Rice when you bring in Jorginho is that kind of mobile player with legs. So Rice is young, he's 24, he's got the legs, he's got the ability to run around the pitch and just cause a lot of problems for the opponent. I don't think that Jorginho is that. He's just an old guy with a lot of experience. You would bring him to manage games. You would bring him on to, maybe calm the atmosphere down. I don't think that atmosphere really needed calming. I thought that atmosphere needed attacking and aggressiveness. And I don't think that is what Jorginho gave us. So injuries are really going to cost us. And I'll talk about Gabriel Martinelli as well, because it's one of the points I have on this sheet today in the morning. I think Gabriel Martinelli is going to be a huge miss for Arsenal. Not even Leandro Trossard will give us what Martinelli gives us. But we're going to talk about that sooner or later as well. So my second point right here, guys, is we need to wake up. We are not at the level of Liverpool, and we are not at the level at Manchester City. And that is where we need to be. Mikel Arteta's already said it. For you to be at the top of those two, at the level of those two clubs, you've got to be consistent, you've got to be good, and you've got to be confident. And I think we have none of that. We really, really have none of that. Confidence-wise, I don't think Arsenal is confident enough in games, especially when you look at that Tottenham Hotspur game. Like, a confident team does not concede moments after scoring. You don't concede goals like that at the Emirates Stadium. And probably we need to talk about the performances at the Emirates Stadium, and the way we concede goals, the way we let in chances, and the way everyone can come and have a goals galore at the Emirates Stadium. It's unacceptable. It's purely unacceptable. Like, there's so many things you could do at home. Conceding at home is not one of them, and literally just giving away points at home. Arsenal have dropped 4 points this campaign, both all 4 at the Emirates Stadium. That shows you that we do not have that kind of threat teams expect us to have at the Emirates Stadium, and therefore when they come at the Emirates Stadium, they have the ability to grow into games, right? So you look at Fulham in that game, they grew, they became comfortable, and Arsenal really found it hard to come and find a first goal, a second goal as well in the second half, and Fulham said, well, we'll just find a second. We'll just find a second from, João Palhinha, right? We'll just tap it in. And they got a second. It's the same thing with Tottenham Hotspur. They came at the Emirates Stadium. They were scared. They thought this is a fortress. This is the Arsenal fortress. And this team is very good. And indeed, we were very good. But the moment we allowed them get back into the game, with the moment we told them, listen, we are not as good as you think at home. So ruthless teams like Liverpool, ruthless teams like Manchester City, they don't give you a chance at their home ground. So to put that into perspective, Manchester City have not dropped points at the Etihad Stadium since the beginning of last year. As simple as that. They've not dropped points at the Etihad since the beginning, January of last year. I think Arsenal have got to learn so many things from this. We've got to learn so many things from this, right? You look at Liverpool. Last season, they lost one game at the Anfield. If you remember, one game at the Anfield, and that game was Bournemouth. Was it Bournemouth? Was it? It was some ramshackle performance from Liverpool. They didn't lose another game. They didn't drop points as Arsenal are dropping points at home. And if you want to be at the same level as those two, you've got to wake up. We've got to wake up. I don't think we are giving enough. I don't think this team is actually performing to the levels of Liverpool and Man City. At the moment, Liverpool is 2 points clear of Arsenal and Man City is 4 points clear of Arsenal. That means that if Arsenal do not win against Manchester City, City will be 7 points and Liverpool could be 4 points ahead of us. It will be over. It will be over before it starts, because in the future, when the season is growing, we know Manchester City grow with the season. They don't get worse, they get better. And we are not seeing a good Manchester City side, by the way. We are seeing a poor Manchester City side. To be honest, I don't think it's clicking for them. But they are winning without it clicking. Yes, Arsenal, it is not clicking yet. It's not fluid yet. And the players we brought in are not yet giving us that kind of elevation. Team is injured. But you've got to find a way. And I don't think Arsenal are really trying to find a way to cope up with Manchester City and Liverpool. But we will see. We will definitely see. Point number 3 is we miss Gabriel Martinelli, and not even Leandro Trossard can give us what Gabriel Martinelli absolutely gives us. So with Gabriel Martinelli, we have a player who is irreplaceable, number one. And I've just found out that by looking at Gabriel Jesus and what he offers Arsenal on the left-hand side. Now, to be honest, with all honesty, Jesus had a very good game. Like, he had a strong performance, good game. I don't think you can expect and ask a lot from him, apart from not barring that chance that is a game winner for me. It's a game winner. You scored, you got 2-0 up, they struggle, Tottenham. They absolutely struggle. However, Gabriel Martinelli is a huge miss. It's a very big miss. Now, I want us to draw back to the performance that we had at the Emirates Stadium before the international break when we played Man United. And you look at how many times Gabriel Martinelli caused problems on the left-hand side. Whoever played there, huge problems. Big time. So what happened in this game is Gabriel Jesus does not commit to the byline, and he doesn't commit to pinning players into the penalty area. So he will receive the ball on the left-hand side. He will receive the ball in that area of space on the left-hand side, but literally does not have any impact on the left, right? Defensively, I thought his tenacity and his pressing was absolutely key, and I really give a tick to Mikel Arteta there. The 1 out of 10 I gave him for playing Gabriel Jesus on the left, because he replicates the energy that Martinelli gives you defensively. But offensively, Martinelli is a fearless bastard. Like, he literally runs at players. He literally, he doesn't care. He will put the ball in space, and you two will compete with it. He will compete with the ball for the ball with Trent. The way he competes with for the ball with Kyle Walker, the way he competes for the ball with Aaron Van Bissaka and Kieran Trippier, he does it all and all again. And yesterday, what we saw then, therefore, guys, is the lack of creativity on the left-hand side. That is why, even with Leandro Trossard on the pitch, Arsenal score a lot of goals on the left-hand side coming from the right, but we don't score a lot of goals from on the right-hand side coming from the left. It is typical of Gabriel Martinelli. When he's not there, there is something missing. And like I said, I saw that when we played Jesus on that side. Now, the good thing is Gabriel Martinelli will be back very soon. I hope it's not a recurring injury because he always carries those ones. He's going to be a key player, Martinelli. He's really, really going to be a key player for us. Not only this season, but in years to come. And Arsenal should really keep hold of him. I think when I look at Vinicius Junior and Rodrigo at Madrid, and I look at Gabriel Martinelli, that is the future of Brazil, but that is the future of those two clubs. Martinelli, the future of Arsenal, he's very hard to close down. He's very hard to keep out of the game. He's so good in terms of finishing, and he's way ahead of so many players that I've compared him to a lot of the time. So Gabriel Martinelli was missed in that game. I think Pedro Porro was not given any kind of exercise, right? And why Pedro Porro was actually very good was courtesy of Gabriel Jesus, because Jesus doesn't take you on. Jesus inverts. He loves inverting, right? And at times when they drifted with Eddie as well doesn't have that ability and capability to take you on as a player. So literally, the left-hand side was decorated, but really not effective. The right-hand side, which we saw yesterday, Saka, absolutely magnificent. Purely magnificent for me. Okay. My point number 4, Mikel Arteta's substitutions need to change, and they need to change quick. So with Mikel, I will go with one problem. And I think he has so many problems as a young manager. But I'll go with one. And that problem is substitutions. I think Mikel understands that to win games at this level, with 10 minutes added on, with all this extra time, with all these injuries, the way you play with your squad depth is going to be key, right? He's now focusing on how goalkeepers can interchange positions, which I think at the moment is not our biggest pressing issue. And he's forgetting that there are times when players really struggle in games. It happens. For me, yesterday, Fabio Vieira stays on and Odegaard goes off. If Odegaard goes off, I might be angry, right? I'm a fan. I'll be angry, and I'll feel, Mikel maybe made a mistake. But I don't think we would really argue that Odegaard had a good game. Not in the first half, not in the second half. I don't think he really tried to create anything. There was that kind of half assist that he gets by playing in Saka. Eventually it's taken away, right? So for me, I would say one thing here. Mikel needs to know who is doing well and who is not doing well. Yes, a player could be doing well in training. There's no problem. They've got to start a game. I mean, if a player is doing very well in training, then they must start. But that is it, right? That is it. If they don't do well 40 minutes, 60 minutes, 70 minutes, all these intervals, you've got to take them off. Eddie Nketiah should have come off yesterday. Maybe I'm Eddie Nketiah out, right? And I didn't see the real picture. But it should have come off. Odegaard should have come off. One of the worst performances for him. And you will understand. I mean, he put in a lot against Everton. Created the goal. Okay, didn't create the goal, but created the pass that created the goal. And he was relentless. PSV, brilliant, magnificent, absolutely magnificent. Those performances take something out of these players. We know that, right? With Odegaard, we are lucky that he's not injured. With Trossard, we are not as lucky, right? But both of them had a very strong performance, and Gabriel Jesus as well. So for me, he needs to learn, Mikel, that when I want to make substitutions, I start with the players that are not having a comfortable game. It also helps you protect your players. Like, if Odegaard picks up an injury in such a game, what's the importance of that? What is the point of that? Like, he picks up an injury in a game where he's performed at his worst. Doesn't make any sense. Really, does not. And lastly, we didn't turn up. To be honest, guys, we didn't turn up. And I was watching Ange Postecoglou's interview, just a little excerpt about it after the game. And he said that there's so many things they didn't do right. And I absolutely agree. I don't think Spurs were classic. I don't think Spurs were classy. I think Spurs were lucky. And if you want, go and watch the video I'm going to upload on the 90 More podcast. I've just pointed out the key difference between Arsenal and Spurs in that game. Spurs, not punished. So literally, their mistakes were not punished. Arsenal, mistakes punished and self-destruction. It comes down to the fact that when you play a team like Arsenal, you will be scared. But Arsenal don't scare you. Arsenal do not give you that, we are here so furious. They don't ask you to fear them. They actually ask you to be comfortable. And in the end, teams become comfortable. And yesterday, if I'm Ange Postecoglou, I don't even allow Arsenal to score that first goal. I closed down Saka. I think Gabriel Jesus didn't need any closing down, to be honest, especially on the left-hand side. Edin Ketia didn't need any closing down, and Odegaard didn't need any closing down. So those were almost 3-4 dead players in the Arsenal system, in the Arsenal lineup. All you had to do was go on the other end and create problems for them. I think Ange Postecoglou will feel stupid. He'll go back and like, wow, I should have taken the game to Arsenal. They could have crumbled under pressure. But those are the 5 things we learned. Positives. Positives is a point. It's a point. I mean, you guys really want the positives, and you kind of skim me alive when I don't give you positive. It's a point, and it allows us to stay in close range with Liverpool. I think we will fight for second with Liverpool if we keep our momentum going. Manchester City, I think they will be in their own kind of treasure island. They could break that unbeaten record. For me this season, I really still back them too. And I know you guys will call me a Manchester City fan. It's interesting. Very, very interesting. But I still back them to go unbeaten, right? I just don't see them. They don't concede. They score enough. Just like Arsene Wenger's, unbeaten Invisibles. They just done it all. But if they go on to win the treble and then back that up by an invisible run, wow. Absolutely, wow. But I'll see you right in the next one. We'll be talking about the injury situation, Mikel Arteta's press conference, and the lack of substitution intelligence from our manager as well. I'll see you right in the next one.